connecting to Facebook the other way. This new way I don't like, because I have to redo it every time.
Gotcha.
And I think that's another thing that's jacking us up. So.
So you want me to go ahead and start talking now?
Yep, you're good now.
Okay.
Yeah, you should
So,
be.
so all I was talking about is, like, we were talking about the cinematic and how some games today go from the very beautiful cinematic trailers into the gameplay without loading screens or anything. It just snaps into the game. And Spider-Man, one of the games I just finished finally, is one of those at the beginning. It shows him web slinging, and you're like, oh, this is beautiful. And then it turns back behind him, and then all of a sudden you're the one doing the web slinging. I mean, it's like it's just into the game. Yeah. So I think that's something that I would like to see in more video games. Like, you use if you can't get your graphics to be as good as you want your cinematic to be, well, then dumb down your cinematic.
Yeah. Don't make it so much better.
Don't make it HD and then have us play a Play-Doh game. Like,
well, it kind of makes you like, it makes your game look worse because you're like, oh man, I wish it was like that. But that happened to me when we played Resident Evil, the remake. I was like, dang, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh, I'm already in control. Like, the character can already play. Like, I thought the cinematic was still going. And that was
I remember
definitely...
you saying that. You're like, is this the gameplay? Like,
yeah.
All right, well, so let's dive in. I got EA now, and I love EA Sports.
Well, do you want to switch to Ryan? We're just gonna.
We can. So
just to give it change your pace.
I'll jump in.
Okay, sweet.
I've got
we'll cover EA after that.
Okay.
Square Enix, guys. Now this is, they make one of the biggest games out there, one of the top games, which is Final Fantasy, right? And to be honest, Final Fantasy, I've never played.
On. You had a lot of.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. To be honest, Final Fantasy I'd never played, and I've always wanted to play it. I've got no clue why I haven't played it. A new one comes out, I watch the previews, I check it out, and I'm like, oh, that looks good. And then I don't play it. It's just happened my whole life. And because it's like, I feel like if I'm going to play it, I've almost got to go back to the beginning. And so I just haven't. It's just one of those series. But in all reality, it's one of the top games there is. And it's very evident for Square Enix that it's like the game this year for what they're doing. And so there's all kinds of remakes. And so I'm going to shoot down. One of them we found out about is Final Fantasy VII. Okay, that remake is coming out. But they changed the game, which is very interesting because Final Fantasy is a turn-based type battle, right?
Yeah.
This steps away from turn-based battle and combat into actual live play combat, which is a very different spin. That's for me. I like that more most of the time too. Some guys really love the turn-based, and so it's kind of a mixed feeling. Sounds like from Final Fantasy fans, they're kind of like, well, at least it's on a remake. Like they didn't take a brand new game that we're all pumped about and change it. So they're kind of taking a risk on an existing game, if that makes sense. Another thing is, it sounds like they're not sure yet. The announcements that they've made makes it sound like this, but they've not said for sure. Is that it's going to be episodic, meaning it's actually going to come out, or 2 or 3, 4 different episodes that come out over a period of time, all for the one game. That's going to pose a lot of different kind of issues, I think, because it's an RPG, right? So you build your character.
We shut the doors behind you.
All that kind of stuff. So does that mean that I can level my character up and keep playing on episode 1 while I'm waiting for episode 2, even if I've beat all the missions that are built into the campaign and done everything I needed to do? I can keep doing like side stuff or whatever it takes to build my character, and then all of a sudden when episode 2 comes out, I'm going to end up, kind of being over-leveled because I've been waiting so long. Or I don't really know how that's going to work, and how does that transfer from episode to episode with the download content, which I'm sure is how it's set up. I'm sure you don't have to buy a separate disc or whatever, But it's supposed to be a pretty unique thing that they're testing these 2 big things on this game to kind of see, is this a direction we're maybe wanting to go? Yep. And so they're kind of testing it to the new gaming era, and the graphics qualities on the new remake looks really good. Like, Final Fantasy is kind of a very certain style. I wouldn't call it just, what do you call it? I wouldn't call it just anime, right? But it's kind of specific to Final Fantasy. It's got a specific look to it. In this new remake, it's very much, they've upped up the three-dimensional graphics to it, if that makes sense. It's a way more depth to the game than the normal Final Fantasies, in my opinion, by the previews.
Right.
And so that's kind of a big switch up too. So along with that, it introduces Tifa and, hopefully I'm saying this right, Sephiroth. Those are two big characters that people are excited about. In this last preview, it showed them. And then there's two other Final Fantasy games also getting a facelift. One is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. That's getting a facelift, supposed to be coming out in 2020. And then the other one is Final Fantasy VIII. So we've actually got 3 different previews that came out, all from the same company, all in the same E3 for multiple Final Fantasies. So, and they're all remakes. They're not like a new Final Fantasy.
Right.
Other than I believe the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, that's a new one, and then the other 2 are remakes. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Sorry, not a huge Final Fantasy guy, like I said, but it is a huge game for that maker and for really the whole gaming world. Just not one that I've ever gotten into too much. There's a big game that people have been excited about for Marvel's Avengers, A-Day. That game's coming out, and the game is very much post the movies. Does that make sense? And so it's not in the middle of the movies or pre the movies. Like, it includes everything that we know from the movies, and then seems to continue on.
Okay.
So they've worked hand in hand with the movie makers, because obviously the game's been in development before this last movie came out, and so they must have been kind of working with them, if that makes sense, to develop the game.
Okay.
We've got kind of mixed views. This is not like a top-down, Marvel style game where you're seeing the guys run around on the screen. This is very much like Spider-Man, like Batman, the most recent ones. You're in the character from a third-person view.
Super cool.
So it looks good, but some people are kind of split on it, because as good as it seems, the graphics didn't look phenomenal in the preview. They looked good, but not super good, if that makes sense. Feel like they could have done maybe a little bit better, especially with how much money is behind Marvel and how much money is in this, the makers that are making it, Square Enix. They're a huge company.
Yeah.
Now, their graphical style is a little different than what you'd imagine coming out with Marvel. You know what I mean? Their normal games are a little bit different. Their Final Fantasy games are definitely different. But some of the biggest, complaints were basically, why did they make it look like the movie? Well, because it's following the movie story. So that one doesn't bother me. I think it is following specifically this new fan group that has grown from the movies, right? Because there's all kinds of people that are just falling in love with Marvel that were never into the comics. They're not comic book readers, and now they're comic book readers because of the movies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so to make a game that follows the movie, to me, makes sense. It doesn't bother me. There's been all kinds of games that don't follow the movie from the Marvel universe. This one does follow the movie. But the as much as the characters look like the characters in the movie, they don't look like the actors in the movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as for the suits and as for the the Hulk and things like that, they follow the design that's in the movies, looks wise. But as for the actors and the voices, it's not the actors, which would have been kind of crazy if they pulled in all the actors and had them do the game. I think people would have really enjoyed that, but it probably would have cost a whole lot more. So they didn't. And actually, I think one of the biggest disappointments and complaints that I've heard is the fact that there is not those actors doing the voiceovers, that the voiceovers and the graphics didn't work very well together. And I'm in big hopes of the fact that this is a very early teaser. It's an early release. There's no gameplay really. It's really just to say, hey guys, this is coming and this is how the game's going to be. That's it.
Yeah. I was under that same impression of, well, you got to kind of give them a chance because it's a year away and we don't know where they're at in development, so they probably just wanted something for E3 to let people know, because it already kind of got leaked anyway, right? So let's put out something, some kind of trailer to pump up the hype. So I agree 100%.
And the other kind of thing that I think is don't stress about the game is the fact that we're seeing game makers, like we just talked about, making changes when the fans complain. That's becoming more and more popular. And Nintendo's been really good at it. That's why people love Nintendo, because they listen a lot. But we're seeing it more and more with all the games. So this is such a big game with so much money behind it, right? That I think even Marvel, if they hear these kind of complaints, they're going to make adjustments before the game comes out. They're going to go, hey, look, guys, people are already taking a dump on this. We're not pouring this money into this game without doing it right, and they're going to adjust what they're hearing the fans say. That's at least my hopes. I think it's a big enough franchise that that's the case, you know?
Yeah. But, you know, like, people mad about the whole, you know, based off the movie thing's just stupid because it's literally the hottest thing right now in that universe, so why wouldn't you?
Right, definitely, yeah.
You know, I haven't got that argument. You know, like, I still want them to look stylized like the movies, even though I know they're not. It's not Robert Downey Jr. as my Iron Man. I'm okay with that.
Right, me too.
You know, like,
no problem.
It's a video game. Have fun.
It's like,
be glad.
But when you play like the new Spider-Man game, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Spider-Man character doesn't look like the comic book character. He looks like the movies. I mean, he looks more like the newer, modern-looking Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like we should expect that.
He doesn't even look like the movie characters either.
He's kind of his own character?
Well, I mean, like you said, he kind of looks more modeled towards those guys, but he's not one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's the same thing the way this is. It's modeled towards the movie, but it's not really them. And I would say it's the same thing with Batman. If Batman still looked exactly like he used to in the games today as he did back at... Yeah, I mean, but they don't. In the Batman games, he looks more modern. He looks more up to date, and I think that's not a bad thing. I don't have any problem with that kind of thing. We're trying to make new games in a new era, and with, you know, just like they do with the movies, you got to make some changes. And you got to be okay with it. On a side note, did you guys see who the new Batman is? Because I am very disappointed.
Yeah, me too. That's ridiculous.
Like, I don't even know how that's possible.
Yeah.
It's Edward from Twilight.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
I'd be surprised. You know, maybe he'll knock it out of the park, but I definitely wasn't impressed with Twilight. I did watch Twilight. I do have a wife, and I'm not afraid of teeny bop movies. Sometimes I still enjoy them. So I watched it. No homo. But I don't think the acting was anything major. If you know what I mean, if you ask me.
Not at all.
No. So it surprised me.
Terrible.
I kind of want to punch her the whole time I watch the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Anyways, the only other big game that came up for them is it's called Outriders. Okay? Outriders is a co-op 3-player, which, you know, I always like 3-player or 4-player games. I like co-op games. It's an action game, and it's from the creators of Bulletstorm, which I never played Bulletstorm, but if you have, then you kind of know maybe what you're getting into. That company's People Can Fly. I guess that's the company who made Bulletstorm, and that's who made this new game, which is a 3-player action co-op coming out for... It's funny because you say that, right? Well, obviously it's still Square Enix, but there's co-developers that they partner with and stuff like that, and the writer for the game is this other company, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And so, other than that, that's pretty much, I mean, we got Marvel, you got a bunch of, what do you call it? You got a bunch of Final Fantasies, and then you've got Outriders. And there was a couple other small things that were coming out, but nothing that jumped out to me from Square Enix.
On the other end. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. Very cool.
Cool. Awesome.
Well,
they're
let me
they're
finish.
knocking it out.
Yeah. Let me finish off my my EA, and then we'll get on to yours, Clinton.
Okay.
I'm just gonna, like I did with my other ones, I'm gonna go through and just let you know what's coming out for EA, and then I'm going to touch on just a couple of them. So let's see here. Let's go in. So Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is the new Star Wars coming out from EA, and I am pumped for it. It looks good.
A lot of people are. Yeah, it does.
It looks good. Now let me tell you, I was a fan of trying out Battlefront when it came out on the PlayStation 4, and I enjoyed it to a certain extent, but it fell short for me. I forget which Battlefront it was. It was either 2 or 3 back on one of the older consoles where you could be a handful of Jedis. Each level had a Jedi you could unlock. And I remember being Yoda, and you could just jump and bounce all over the place, and his lightsaber was just going everywhere. And that was so fun. I mean, just cutting through all the soldiers with you just jumping around. And since then, I never felt like you could take control of a Jedi the same way ever again. Like, even in the newer Battlefronts, you could be certain Jedis, but they felt blocky. They felt like they didn't move fast. They just felt... I think even like Luke on there had a jolt where he would jolt forward really fast with his lightsaber, but it wasn't fluid feeling. It just felt like
unnatural,
kind of rushed. Yeah, like they didn't nail out the anatomy part of what his body would actually do.
Yeah.
To make it look fun and realistic in a way.
Yeah. So seeing this, and I watched the whole they had the gameplay. The gameplay trailer at E3. I watched that today, and it looked great. The graphics looked great. The control of the Jedi looked great. How fluid you were going through the level looked great. The way you cut through the soldiers, the things you could do, deflecting laser shots at you, right back into their face. I mean, cutting through. And
I wonder.
The burnt line.
I wonder if they made a new engine, because a lot of times when you see big changes like that, it's the graphic engine has been completely revamped. You know what I mean? So the way it operates is different, not just the graphics. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I feel that's usually when I go, oh man, they really did it on this game, and then I find out, oh, they put a whole new graphics engine in this thing.
Yeah. Very possible.
Clint, don't mean to interrupt, but Mikhail said you had an echo. I don't know if you saw that message.
Yeah, I went in and fixed it. The cam that I connected up earlier picked up sound for whatever reason. So
gotcha.
That's what went down with that.
And then I don't know if it's your fan, but you're usually pretty sensitive about background sound, and you've definitely got way more background sound than you usually do right now. So I just figured I'd give you a heads up.
It's the computer, so it's
okay.
working overtime.
No problem then.
My other fan broke, and so it's getting hot back here.
Okay.
Multiple streams.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. It's been good.
Alrighty.
So,
sorry about that.
You're okay. As far as this goes, I feel like it's pretty comparable, the graphics to the old Battlefront. Like, I don't think they're, like, super... Because they were good. Battlefront's graphics were good. It's just the way you can control this Jedi in this game feels so much better. And I wasn't even playing it, but just watching...
Just had that feel to it, yeah.
Yeah, the moves he could do, how you could jump, and just use the Force. The ways you could use the Force in this game looked amazing. I mean, pulling people towards you, pushing them back, lifting them up. I mean, he would go up behind guys and pull them like 20 yards towards him and just finish them with the lightsaber. I mean, it was just...
I saw one where he like threw
legit.
it, and I'll reveal it later in the Xbox part for their portion, but on their trailer or gameplay deal, it showed him just like literally launching a lightsaber at a guy and nailing him, and then it coming back to him. Like
so throwing his saber. One of my favorite moves I saw is he could use the Force to stop time. So he would stop time when they were shooting the lasers at him. The laser guns, and he stopped a laser midair. It's just sitting there, going slower, like real slow. Then he force pulled the guy towards him and put him in the way of the laser, and it killed
I saw one where he threw it.
His own shot.
That's nice.
It was just epic.
It's like that.
You feel so powerful when you see that, and so that's why I'm pumped up. Like I want to feel. That's why people play video games. That's why people read books.
Definitely.
We want to be the Jedis.
Yeah,
like,
right.
We can't be the Jedis in real life. So when a
that's
game
why we like superhero movies.
Yes. I think that's why people get disappointed, because when there's a gap in the imagination that the game is not fulfilling for them, they get disappointed. And I think that's on the opposite spectrum why we get pumped up. I'm pumped up for this game because I feel like it's going to bring a power feeling to me, like I can just be this Jedi in this story.
Right.
Yeah.
So, super pumped for that.
At the end of the day, that's why we play. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. To take you to another world.
I remember a Star Wars game. I couldn't even tell you what it was because I wasn't even... Like, I had a PlayStation at the time, I think. My wife wasn't even, like, a gamer. Or not my wife, my mom wasn't even a gamer. She was just playing, like, Solitaire and some, Minesweeper and some of the old school stuff on the computer back in the AOL days.
Some old school stuff.
And then there was a computer game that came out. I think it was called Star Wars The Force. I think that's all it was called. But that's so long ago, I don't remember for sure. And she just, like, become like a game addict, which is weird because she never played games before. But she was really into Star Wars. And that game was all about, for back then, I remember it was crazy watching her play, because the way you could use the Force to move boxes and crates and throw them and stuff like that was very, like, first time. You know what I mean? That's when 3D games and Doom was first coming. And I remember she just got hooked on that. You know, and she's not even a gamer. It was just what you're talking about there. It's that she felt like she could experience one of her favorite movies ever and be part of it. And so, yeah, it's definitely always has been, I think.
Enough to teach her the game, so to speak. Like, to get her to, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so that's all I have for the Star Wars. Apex Legends announced a season 2 start date.
Okay.
What's that mean? Season 2, all new characters? Like it's like a whole new game?
No, so they are just implementing new things, kind of like Fortnite had its seasons.
Like they just updated with the patch. Totally, it's basically the new patch.
Yeah, so Fortnite would totally change all their characters, it seemed like, on every new release.
Okay, so it'll be maybe a new map and stuff like that too, or?
There is a new. I didn't see anything in here about a new map. It could be.
Okay.
But what I saw is there is a new character. There's a new gun. And so just different things like that. Mozambique buff, so they buffed one of the guns.
Okay.
And then Dragon Tease is what I read on here. I don't know exactly what that is. I didn't see it in the video. I don't know if Dragon is a character or if it's a gun. I have no idea. I'd have to look into that further. I didn't get excuse me, any answers on that. So yeah, Season 2. Battlefield 5 coming out with the third game. Was it another shooter? Battlefield 5, the presentation was focused primarily on the new multiplayer maps coming during Season 4. So, yeah, just introducing some new maps with Battlefield. What was it, Battlefield 1 that kicked back? Yeah, it was Battlefield 1. I played a little bit of Battlefield 1, but I just can't get into them. I don't know what it is.
I've not played them enough to know.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, it looks fun, but I've never...
It's kind of like you had to pick a side. When Battlefield was getting big, so was Call of Duty. And you kind of had to pick, are you a Call of Duty guy or a Battlefield guy? Yeah. And I became a Call of Duty guy. It's what happened. And
I think
a lot of Call of Duty guys have actually switched over in the last few years because of the the destructible environment and a little bit more and team deathmatch. It's a little more, you have a role to play and things like that, or like medics, and so people have kind of liked the involvement that comes with Battlefield. And they've switched out of Call of Duty because it felt repetitive. But yeah, in the beginning, I think you kind of picked one. I mean, and that's why a lot of us are like, I don't know, Battlefield? I don't know, I didn't really play that. I tried. It was so different from Call of Duty, I just went back to Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So yeah, so that's basically it on Battlefield 5 that I got. FIFA 20. FIFA 20 had a release date of September 27th, and they are introducing a new game mode, excuse me, which is a street game mode. So I guess apparently you'll be able to play some soccer on the street or football on the street.
Oh,
okay.
Goodness, sorry guys.
So some street ball. Okay.
Which is cool because they used to have FIFA Street, which was there was FIFA the game, which was more legit. The graphics were more legit, and then there was a FIFA Street game, which you actually had like these cartoony looking characters, and they had like power up abilities, or you just fire a shot in from across the court, you know. So
okay, kind of like the basketball used to have that. What was that called?
Yeah,
there was NBA regular basketball, and then there was
Street Jam.
Yeah, and he's on fire.
Yeah,
and you'd be shooting from like across the court and all that stuff.
Oh, that's just NBA jams. Yeah, with the big heads.
No, maybe it was NBA jams. But it was different than the normal basketball game, like the standard basketball game, right?
There was a couple of them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some different iterations of that.
Yeah.
And then there's even an NFL one, too. There's a football
one.
But this, I'm sure, won't be that same style. It's just, it'll be FIFA with
street ball.
Street ball option. They talked a little bit about Sims 4 and the Island Living expansion.
Okay.
And then they touched on some indie games that they're going to have out, like a handful of them, 4 indie games that they are publishing and that are coming out. But I really want to touch on the one I'm most excited about. Clinton's excited about it because he's ready to get his butt spanked over and over again.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I know it. It's Madden
I know where we're
20.
going with this.
Okay? Madden 20. All right? And so I pulled up a whole article just on Madden because I love it. I watched a whole video on it. Guys, I can't tell you how pumped I am about this. I've been feeling and saying to people forever now that they need to put something in Madden that highlights players' abilities even more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like their unique capabilities.
Yes, their unique capabilities. And we're seeing that
What makes Tom Brady
year.
Tom Brady?
Right.
The best of all time.
Because in the past, Madden has their official Madden ranking guy. Like, he goes out and he lowers and hires people's ranking or their speed and whatever.
Right.
And so you get as close as you can to the players through that, sure. Okay, so Brady's going to have this arm and so-and-so's going to have this arm power. But first time ever we're seeing these players are going to start having player abilities. And they're unique to that player. So
That's
these
cool.
well-known NFL players, for instance,
Like
Patrick,
this certain kind of juke or something like
yeah,
that.
well, yeah, I'll give you an example. Patrick Mahomes,
Uh-huh.
one of the rookie of the year this year that came out and had a bomb for an arm, right? So Patrick Mahomes is going to have a special power up, if you will say, and in order to get this power up, you have to complete a challenge in every game. So
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes is complete 3 30-yard passes in the air. He gets heated up. It shows on this emblem underneath him that you've completed that. It fires him up. And now you've unlocked his special ability, which is called Bomb or something like. It's like, I forgot what they said on the video. Throwing bombs or something like that, and so that little icon pops up, and it's a little bomb.
Okay.
And so now Patrick Mahomes, when he drops back, can let it fly, guys. I'm talking like 80-yard passes, no problem, just bombing this, and so that's his special ability.
Okay.
Now they
like
also each player is also going to have special animations. So when they roll out, they look like they are in real life. Patrick Mahomes was one of his famous plays this year was his no-look pass. He rolled out, he looked this way, he threw it sideways to Tyreek Hill, no look, and he caught it. Well, that is actually animation they put in the game. If you're running out to the side and you
that's
throw
cool.
it, sometimes he'll look the other way and throw it. And so
Nice.
not every quarterback does that, though. You can't do
It's
that with the
unique
other
to him.
quarterbacks. Nobody
Okay.
else does that.
So like
It's
Tyreek
unique to
Hill,
him.
Tyreek Hill will be like snapping 3-year-olds' arms.
Oh, that's bad. You bad.
I like that. I like it.
That's terrible.
Okay,
So-
sorry, I had to throw a shot.
So
there.
that's what makes it unique. That's what makes it cool because this bomb thing that I was saying about where he throws it far. What's up? Are you talking to me or?
Yeah, keep going. You're good.
Oh, sorry.
I was trying not to interrupt you.
So I'm just getting fired up over here.
I know you are.
So every time you reach that power up, you have it, and nobody else has that. That's Patrick Mahomes' power up.
Yeah.
Bombing it deep. Just one more example before I move on. Juju Schuster, who plays for the Steelers, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Uh-huh.
He's a great wide receiver. When he gets hot, his is it's called double me, so like double team me, and what that means is you're not going to stop him unless you double team him. When he catches on fire, you throw it down the field to him. It doesn't matter if it's who's on him. If it's one person, he's catching it over you.
Okay.
So you have to switch your Madden defense up to.
So you'll know that he's in that mode because of how well he's been doing.
Yeah.
On the other guy too. Okay.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and here's what they touched on. They said, well, that seems really fun, but what about the poor defender? They just stepped into this heck show, and now he's like, oh, well, I'm playing this guy. He just caught on fire. There's nothing I can do. Well, there's counter strikes. So say Patrick Mahomes gets on fire. Well, now you have a challenge to take him out of that zone.
Mm-hmm.
If you get back behind the line of scrimmage and you sack him, it takes him out of that zone. So there's
I like it. I like that.
That you can, it's strategy.
So it's
like
they're trying to keep the game balanced.
It's like they've introduced ultimates, like on Overwatch. It's like they've introduced these ultimates to Madden, of like you can be getting your butt whooped, but then you still have a chance because if you happen to stop them, then you can be on fire. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, say
change your stuff.
Say you're down 1 touchdown in, or you're down a field goal and there's 40 seconds left, and all of a sudden Juju gets his, his power up, and you throw it down deep to him because there's one guy on him and he's scoring. Because
Now I think people won't like it if all of a sudden I'm throwing 6 80-yard passes in a row. Right. It's like, come on, guys. There's no way that's going to happen in real life.
And that's what they were saying.
So hopefully there's a balance there.
There's a balance. You have to either switch up your defense or make it your mission to get back in that backfield and sack him before he has the chance to throw 8 throws. Rushing the passer.
Yeah.
So that mixed with the animations is going to really pinpoint. I'm touching my desk again. I'm sorry.
Specific characters.
Yes, and it's going to highlight them and make them stand out. Another thing is there's a new game mode, kind of like the Road to Glory game mode, like Clinton had talked about before, where you're going to start with your school. It's going to show a whole new draft. There used to be a way that they did the NFL draft. It's much more exciting. You sit it has the whole scene. You're sitting at the tables waiting for them to call your name, and you work your way up and start. Start your career. It was cool. They were showing it, and they had Kyler Murray in the locker room, Clinton, like stretching his arms, and he looks really legit on the on the Cardinals. He's got his number 1 on. Yeah. And so it's just another thing that, like, same thing with the Jedi. You if you're dreaming about being an NFL star, it really makes you feel like you're stepping in.
They're adding immersion.
Power.
They're adding immersion to these games now.
You get more invested.
Used to not be. Yeah.
You feel like you have the power. You feel like you could go out and put a show on with the receiver. You are the receiver,
Yeah.
And so I'm pumped up about Madden 20. We've talked about many times on this podcast how they can be so repetitive.
Yeah.
And I applaud them for breaking that seal a little bit.
So let me ask a question, because I haven't really played those games. I've always been horrible at sports games. It's not that I don't like them. I've just always been so bad that everybody beats me, and so it's not worth playing. But I did get good at like a basketball game once, and I think I got good at I want to say it was a soccer game once years ago, because I played it enough. But most of the time I'm no good. On these new games, I'm saying that's why I don't play them. But the question has nothing to do with that. On these new games, is it always one-on-one, and you're playing the whole team? Or can somebody join in and play as the receiver and somebody play as the, you know what I mean?
I think last year's Madden is the first year you could play online together and play on the same team.
Oh, cool. Really?
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty positive. Yeah. There was not a thing. You had to play. You could always play up to 4 players and play on the same team if you were using the same console. Like in
you could?
Room. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you could be a quarterback. Somebody else can be a catcher. Okay, see, I didn't even know that. That sounds fun.
2 receivers out, a quarterback, and a running back, and all of you guys could be playing on the same team. I'm pretty sure.
Because the older sport games, you're whoever has the ball. You throw it, you catch it, you know what I mean. You do it all.
Yeah. Right, and some of them you can only do 2 and 2. I know there were some sports games you can only play 2 on 2.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had your whole team as real people.
That'd be crazy.
Wouldn't
that'd be kind of I mean, they'd have to integrate things for the blockers on the line and stuff, because that wouldn't be very fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
that's true.
You just run into the guy and you block him. So maybe it's like a tapping thing, like tap before he taps.
It would have to be like an objective for each individual player.
Yeah,
I think,
right.
It's almost too much. Yeah, it'd be too much work, really. But yeah,
I got you.
I get what you're saying.
All right, I take it back.
Yeah, hey, someday, you never know.
One day we'll just be in a VR suit, just everybody playing. So
right, just really running and everything.
I'll be out there blocking. That'd be cool. Well, that's all I got, folks.
Awesome. Well, good job. I like that.
I'm pumped up.
Yeah.
I'm ready for all these new games.
I'll give Ubisoft a good rundown before we send it over to Clint. Is that cool, Clint?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, and you'll close up with some Microsoft news?
Yeah.
All right. Ubisoft, to be honest...
Hold on real quick. Hold
on. All right, I'm holding up real quick.
You're holding up. You're hitting, you're pumping.
I'm holding on.
You're humping the brakes.
I'm here. I'm humping them. I don't want to hump the brakes.
You're pumping.
That's what I heard, too.
That is what came out. Whoa. Hey, my fan broke. It's getting a little hot back here.
Good thing is you don't look like you're sweating yet, which is rare.
Wow.
It's because that bright light's shining off of his pasty forehead.
It is bright. It is bright. Make you look pale like powder, bro. Just super pale.
I got a little shine. Going.
I'm floating over here like, hey, another news.
Funny. We got jokes now.
Those of you on the podcast, Hunter just held up a piece of white paper, so it was pretty good. I like the improvisation. Improvisation. Yeah. Roll with it. Are we ready?
Not a word. Yeah, go.
It was a second ago. Ubisoft. I got to tell you guys, over the years, there's other game makers I like. Ubisoft is kind of like probably my top. And not on purpose. Like, I fell in love with the games before I realized, all these games are made by this company. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I just like a lot of their games. Mm-hmm. And so, like Hunter and EA, Ubisoft is my EA. You know, I'm a little passionate about them.
Oh, okay. I didn't know this about you. I mean, I assigned it to you because I knew you played Splinter Cell, but I didn't know where you're
at. Kind of like probably my top.
Assassin's Creed too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I like what do you call it? The one that has them all, Rainbow Six.
Yep.
There's a bunch of them. Yep, I like those too. This time there's a game I haven't heard of, and that's because I'm just kind of getting back into gaming, and it's called Watch Dog. Now that exists already, and I haven't played it. And now that I've seen the preview for Watch Dog Legion, I kind of want to go play Watch Dog because Watch Dog Legion looks legit, guys.
Okay.
Watch Dog Legion is basically an open world game like Grand Theft Auto or these kind of games, but basically it's based in London. There's been basically the powers that be have taken over the city and are ruining things and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? That's the background story. And the Watchdog are basically these kind of, I would call them resistance agents that are rising up to represent the people and take back London. Right? Okay. In Watchdog Legion, okay, it's pretty sweet because it seems very unique to me. In this game, the reason why it's called Legion is because you're actually going to be in control of an army of spies or insurgents that you're building up for this resistance. Mm-hmm. So instead of just being this one character who happens to be in this story, you're in control of recruiting and building an entire army of agents within this system to bring down the powers, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what is sweet about that is you're literally recruiting anybody you can find in the entire game. So any normal person that's out there, the preview shows like some dudes out breakdancing or doing some street performance, whatever. You say, hey, I see some skills in this guy that would be valuable because he's got this certain asset, and I'm sure you're going to be able to see their stats, kind of like the things they're good at, right? Their agility or this or that, and say he's going to work right for this mission. So you recruit him, you train him, and then he goes on that mission.
Okay.
It mentions a couple people within the game. One of them being an old lady that looks like just some super old lady with a dress on, and she's basically a retired hitman, and she's somebody you want to find and recruit. And so there's all these different kind of characters. There's one guy, he's just a street brawler. He street fights for money, like in the back, and so you kind of got all these different. But it's not just these specialists that you can recruit. You can recruit anybody.
Yeah.
This is also a co-op game, 4-player. So imagine this whole city that you're taking over and trying to take back. You can play as any character you want, and 4 of your friends can play with the army you're running.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That sounds very unique. It sounds very good. The fact that it's a sequel means they've kind of probably proven themselves with the first one, and then now they're stepping out into this bigger realm, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It says that the open world...
Sorry, I think this is actually the 3rd game. There was
3
before this. Yep.
Okay. Dang. Now I'm definitely wondering what this game's all about. It says that the open world's really big, too. It's not like a small open world. It's going to be a really good-sized map. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say it's interesting because I didn't realize there was 2 Watch Dogs out already. Mm-hmm. So I'm like,
pretty positive.
I'm way behind.
Look it up while we're talking. No big deal.
I will.
I don't know if they've all been co-op, but yeah, this one's 4-person co-op, open world, and what was I going to say here? Oh, it's on every system, right? And we've been wondering what's going to start happening with this new Google Stadia thing, and what games are going to be joining it. It's Stadia, but I'm going to say it wrong and then correct myself, and
every time.
Stadia, yeah. The Google Stadia. We've been wondering who else is going to join up with this, who's going to partner with this. Well, this is on every console, including the Google Stadia, except for the Switch, right? Because it's just not made for Switch.
Yeah.
But and so it'll be coming out on PlayStation, PC, Xbox, and Stadia.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. Next game is called Gods and Monsters, and to be honest,
before you go on, there is a 1, a 2, and now there's Legion.
Okay, cool. Thank you. This next game is called Gods and Monsters. Okay. Now, why this game is exciting to me is because I've been talking about. I really feel like I may have missed out on some Zelda. Right? You heard me talking about that earlier. Kind of watching some of these previews of that style game, thinking I've not really. Yeah, it's a real good role play game, and I've kind of missed out on it. Really, because the main reason is most of them are single player. And I'm just a really big co-op guy. And me and Clint were talking earlier today about how used to back in the day when we didn't play online, right? You'd go to each other's houses to play games. It didn't matter if it was co-op because you could just take turns. If you died, the next guy plays. Kind of like Resident Evil. Everybody listening used to play Resident Evil that way. You just don't do that anymore. I was telling Clint it'd be sweet if they did that online. What if I could be at my house and you could be at your house? We could be watching the same single-player gameplay and take turns on the mission. I'd play that for sure. I'd have a great time. So you bigwigs that are listening out there, make it happen. This game is not that, but it is a role-play game that's very much like Zelda. Same kind of mystical kind of graphics, kind of, would you say, mythical lore? You know what I mean? That kind of a vibe to it.
Yeah.
And it's called Gods and Monsters. I like the little preview. It's a teaser preview, but the preview says, heroes go to the gods for help, but when the gods need help, they come to you. And that's kind of the prelude to this thing. And basically, you're this warrior who's trying to save the Greek gods from destruction. And so that's your storyline.
So it's kind of the opposite of God of War. Instead of killing the gods, you're saving the gods. Huh.
Right. Yep. And so in this game, it's kind of got, like I said, the Zelda-type vibe to it. The story mode, the RPG mode. It's I think it's a big open world, but it's very story-driven. You know what I mean? And even the animation kind of looks like some of the newest Zelda. That's kind of the way the game looks. Let me see if I had any other notes here real quick. You're fighting magical creatures, and this is coming out February 25th, 2020. So, not too far away. I think that game's going to be pretty good. Pretty short preview, so hard to judge, right?
Right.
But the way they talked about it really got me intrigued. I'm interested because it looks like maybe if it's a good game, it could be, and it's by Ubisoft, so it's probably going to be a pretty good game.
Did they say what it was going to be for?
Yeah, it's going to be for Xbox. It's going to be for Stadia. It's going to be for PlayStation, I think, too. It's for everything. Might even be Nintendo. It didn't say, actually. Okay. Let me see if I can't look at the article real quick. No, it doesn't say. If somebody wants to look that up while I'm talking, let me know if it's going to be. It looks like a Nintendo Switch game, like it very well could be.
Yeah.
So that would be sweet if they did. It's called Gods and Monsters. Now another one for you guys is, let's see here. This is kind of a quick one. This is called Roller Champions. I'm mentioning this one not because it looks like a huge game. It's basically a game built off of the roller derby idea, right? It's a PvP skill-related sports game. You're playing against other players, right? So it'd be like a sports game, but roller derby, which I don't think that's really been done that I know of.
Yeah.
And so it's in alpha testing, or actually pre-alpha right now, and for the next couple of days you can check it out for free, from what I understand, on PC. And so that's one I figured was worth mentioning. It's getting tested. Might give them a little... I think it's a good idea for them to open that up, since that kind of game I don't think has ever been done. Yeah. So they're opening that up for people. Let's see. Just Dance 2020. You guys know what that is. The surprising news for Just Dance 2020 is it's coming out on Wii.
On Wii?
Yes. It's really? 2019, and they're releasing it on Wii. So those of you who still have your Wii and haven't upgraded to a Switch, right, you can get Just Dance 2020, which is also on PlayStation and Xbox One and Switch, but it's also coming out on Wii, which I thought was kind of unique. Which makes sense because it's very much a Wii game, right? That's kind of where it got really popular.
Right.
So
I know a lot of people were using the Wii and things like that for working out.
So that's what that is. There's a mobile game called Tom Clancy's Elite Squad. They didn't mention much else about it. I kind of think that this is going to be a multiplayer game, okay, versus each other. It's taken Tom Clancy characters from all the different Tom Clancy games, not just Splinter Cell, right?
Oh, okay.
Rainbow Six, stuff like that, and they're all going to be in this game somehow, and that's kind of like all we know. It's going to be a mobile-based game. It's going to pull all these characters in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a mobile game, so it's very different.
Okay.
And so we'll see what that is, guys.
It's probably going to have a level up aspect to it or something to that effect.
I'm thinking so, yeah, and I'm thinking it's probably going to be not a battle royale because you wouldn't have specific characters if it was. Yeah. But I think it's probably going to be more of a PvP type thing going on. But we'll see. That's just a guess. I didn't see any other details on it, and I looked it up a couple different places.
Gotcha.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey. We talked about earlier how these games are making these like Mario, right, and Zelda, and the ability to make your own missions and world and paths and scenarios and things like that. Well, Assassin's Creed is following suit. They're opening a new portion to the game. It's going to be an add-on for Odyssey. It's going to be called Story Center. You get to make your own mission with multiple paths within the mission depending on what you end up choosing or doing. And so you can actually build whole scenarios for Assassin's Creed, which I think that's a pretty detailed game to be able to do that with. So
yeah,
I thought that was kind of a unique idea.
Other people online will be able to play those that you made.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
the missions are available for the community. Yep.
Okay. So
same thing with these other games right now. Yep. That's all. I think that's the only thing that's going to drive those games, right?
Yeah.
These new creator games that are coming out, the mods and stuff like that. It's really because you get to offer it. It's like another way, like for creative people to express, like YouTube or things like that.
And it's free content for them.
Yeah, and it actually gives them almost like free testing, right? Like, hey, people really like this, right? This guy came up with it, and we've been seeing a lot of these mods that come out. Big game developers partner with the mod makers, and they make it into a real game. And so it's really an opportunity for some unknown people to kind of get seen. And so I love that. I think it's great. It's part of what I think the whole world is kind of going to, kind of this mashup of working together and things like that we've seen happening.
Rather than just one company doing it, you have a bunch of companies doing it.
Right.
Well, I mean, essentially that's how movies do it with special effects. They hire, like a lot of different special effect companies to do. Like I was looking at like Avengers, for instance. Like
right. Yeah, it might be Warner Brothers over the whole movie, but there's a bunch of them underneath that are all putting in work. Yep.
Yeah, like on Thanos, like there was one company that worked on the detailed face, and there was another company that actually worked on the action scenes because
that's what they're best at.
He didn't need to be as detailed, and so they did this. And yeah, they have like all these tons of different.
Isn't that crazy?
Companies. Yep.
Used to, it was just different teams within one company, and they've kind of just decided, hey.
Yep, they just outsourced to the best companies. Yep.
But we're at such a higher production rate nowadays too, right? So everything's turning over faster. Information's growing at a faster rate, and so if we don't do that, we're really just going to kind of stall. We've got to work with each other. So it's interesting to see that in the technology field. Now there's one really good one, and you guys heard me on the intro. I said Ubisoft with a new horror game or something along those lines. It's been a while since I said it, so I don't remember exactly what I said. And I bet you won't guess what the name of it is.
Massacre of the Soldier Army of the Sixth Legion.
Exactly. Right. Right. Yeah. So we're just picking some new random game. Yeah, Nazi zombies. Yeah, everybody's doing Nazis.
They're usually military, but go ahead.
No, this is called Rainbow Six Quarantine.
What?
Yes. It's got the Rainbow Six strategy gameplay combined with a quarantine scenario where there's an outbreak of viral effects. Very. Yes.
This is what
very,
I want.
very zombie-like vibe. You know, they didn't show you a lot. They just kind of like, oh man, I've never seen Tom Clancy or Rainbow Six, or I don't think we've seen many. I mean, Ubisoft they were involved with Left 4 Dead, weren't they?
Yeah.
It was Steam and Ubisoft together, I think. So we've seen a horror game from them, I'm pretty sure. But take the idea of taking Rainbow Six, right?
Not
and
the
the
Tom
fact
Clancy stuff though. That stuff's always been based in a lot of reality.
Yes, and not only that, it's usually a really in-depth way of gameplay. Like it's not a normal shoot 'em up type game. Rainbow Six is known for the way you work together and the strategy you have to take. To have that combined into a quarantine city type situation, I'm pumped.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
The preview shows like a guy's arms and his veins are starting to turn black. It's like the virus is spreading in his arms. And, oh yeah, and it's dark. Everything's real dark and got that horror game feel.
Is that the trailer where the guy literally like his hand starts like popping and fracturing and stuff?
I can't remember. I don't remember if I saw that or not. Okay. Now you got me on the spot.
Well, I saw this trailer of a zombie dude. He was turning into a zombie, but Claire was in the same room with me and started getting scared, so I had to turn it off.
Okay, I got you.
So I'm wondering if that was the trailer.
I'm gonna click this on real quick. I'm watching this preview real quick for you guys.
While you're doing that,
just real quick.
The Gods and Monsters is set to release on Xbox One, PS4, PC, and Switch.
Okay, so no Google Stadia.
Okay. Yes, but not yes. Okay.
Yes, but not yes.
It didn't list Stadia because they made a mistake. Because the last news for Ubisoft is the biggest.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's pretty awesome.
So was that maybe a pre-released article? Like they released it and then more info came out?
It probably was. Yep.
Okay.
And so I was trying to avoid that question earlier because I didn't want to give away
the big finale.
Thing.
Okay.
Yeah, the big finale. Let me see where I even wrote it down at. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what she's saying.
This is called Uplay, standing for Ubisoft or Ubisoft. Maybe it is Ubisoft after that. This is basically this kind of is something they came out with by working with Google Stadia, right? And it's a subscription just for Ubisoft. Okay? You get access to over 100 Ubisoft games that have been out in the past for $15 a month, and you get all those games that have existed. You get to play them all. And then you get all the download content that comes out is also included in the $15 a month. And then early access to new games. And then, of course, you get to play the new releases, too. Okay. All included in this. That's the first time I've ever seen a brand, a game maker, come out with a subscription like that. And so from the way that article read when I was reading about this Uplay, is pretty much everything that's Ubisoft will be included in here. So that's why I'm guessing this new game that we're talking about, Gods and Monsters, it's probably included in that too, just because it said even new releases, and it mentioned including Watch Dogs and other new releases that are coming out.
Okay,
so
that's pretty cool.
I think that's. Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's for me. First off, the $15 seemed a little high. Only because I'm thinking Google Stadia is, what was it, 10? Which I thought was a great deal. And then you're going to pay another 15 just for these specific games? Maybe, but I think you're going to do that for a short amount of time till you play all those games, and then you're going to stop paying. But you're not going to, you know what I mean?
But then you get that reservation the guy's telling you with Google Stadia where it's like, we'll see what they give for $10, what they actually have signed up. What games they get, which I know they got a lot of game developers already signed on with them. So,
well, now you have every Ubisoft game made, so that tells you where it's going.
For Stadia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? You get what I'm saying? Okay. All these games are offered on Stadia, that $15 deal.
So then why would you do this then, I guess?
Because you're not free on Stadia, you got to pay for them. You're paying on Stadia for
Okay, so you're saying this announcement is for that. I thought you were saying I guess I misunderstood what you were saying. I thought you said Ubisoft had its own streaming service
Yes, it's not their own streaming service. Okay, time out, guys, just in case you're confused like Clint. Google Stadia is just a console. When you're paying $10, you're paying for their premier console, meaning so you can get 4K and 120 frames per second, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you can use their console for free starting next year. So that's for the console use of Google Stadia. Now you still have to buy all your games on Google Stadia, right? All the new games that come out, they're $60, just like playing them on any other console.
Mm-hmm.
You buy your own games, so you're paying for the console. Now this is with Google Stadia. You can play $15 and you get all the games.
Okay, I got
for
you
Ubisoft.
Now.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it's not just for them. It's also for Xbox or PlayStation, or it's not just for PC. It's the same. They're just offered on that platform. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So you can get the Uplay anywhere you want, and it includes downloads for whatever you use.
Mm-hmm. Is it the same for PC then? Did they say it's the same for PC?
Yeah, same for PC.
Okay.
So does that make sense? So you don't have to use it on Stadia.
Now.
You just can use it on Stadia.
Okay, I got you now. That makes sense.
But it does tell us that a big brand like Ubisoft is not only going to bring a couple games over to Stadia, they're bringing all of them. Mm-hmm. And if that's happening, that gives us a little taste of probably what's coming with Google. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of it.
Good job. Hey, that was a lot of news right there. I liked it, though. I
told y'all. You can't cover all this in one night.
Well, we're not done.
Crazy.
We're not done. Now we got to take on the Green Giant. You know what I'm saying? The Jolly Green Giant. Oh, here we go. So, Ryan, I feel like you amped it up, you know?
Yeah.
You got us pumped.
Actually, Hunter got me pumped, and I just fed off of it.
I got you. Hunter got you pumped on that Madden spiel, right?
Mm-hmm. And the Star Wars.
I'm ready for my Madden RPG and my my Star Wars Fallen Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Or Fallen Jedi.
He said Madden RPG. I like that.
You like that? Well, that's pretty much.
I mean, get it.
Because here's the thing, like people that play sports games or whatever, and they try to act like, oh, I'm too cool for RPG, role play. Mm-hmm. In a sense, you're always role playing to an extent in any game that you play. So on games like that, the more immersion they get, guys get pumped like Hunter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's still that same nerd concept. It's just it's specified for your sport
on something they care about, right?
Right. But it's the same. You want immersion. You want that that chance to escape completely and feel like you are that millionaire football player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to be a millionaire football player. Just saying. Okay.
For the money.
Yeah. Okay. So, taking on the big dog, one of the big dogs of E3 is Xbox. We had a lot of rumors circulating about it. I know we've talked a lot about rumors heading into E3. So, we're gonna hit it hard. We're gonna hit it fast. It's gonna be fun. Xbox, I feel like
That's what she said.
I feel like Xbox had a pretty solid conference here. I don't think they're the ones that won. My same issue with Xbox on some things was the same as I had with some of the other game developers, which was not enough gameplay. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like they could have had a little more gameplay. But I get that all these games are early releases kind of thing. So we're gonna go through them pretty quickly. The first thing I want to talk about was Project xCloud. Didn't get a lot of information. But one of the biggest things about it is going to be you can turn your Xbox into a streaming server. And I feel like we had talked about this maybe earlier in one of the other podcasts as far as rumors or, ideas that was going down. You can kind of do that now with your consoles, but this is definitely what they're going for. If you're interested in console streaming that's like Google Stadia, Microsoft is offering the first public hands-on of its Project xCloud at the E3 2019, their floor show part, where they let you demo it. But it's supposed to get here in October. So you'll be able to turn your Xbox into a server that lets you play on a variety of devices. So where you play is entirely up to you, is what Xbox boss Phil Spencer says.
So they're taking the console you have, instead of you going to a remote server somewhere like Google, your remote server is at your house. So if your console's not on, PlayStation does just for the handheld, right? For some games right now, except for they're going to make it available for
all
you can
devices.
go play on your computer, you can go play on your phone, whatever. Wow,
Yep.
I like that.
Yep.
I like
so
that.
It'll stream directly to your.
So kind of these guys are kind of going, hey,
this
Nintendo
is our fight
Switch. You say, well, even Nintendo Switch. It's kind of like, yeah, your games are down, kind of, brought down. Your graphics aren't phenomenal on Nintendo Switch, but the uniqueness is you get to carry it with you. And it's kind of like
This
Google and all these guys are kind of going like, well, you could have both.
Yeah.
You can have phenomenal graphics and carry it with you.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're gonna show you a little something here. Yeah, they're not giving up the fight at all. So
now, hey, I forgot to say earlier, I do have a prediction.
What was your prediction?
Just like Microsoft is working with PlayStation, which is shocking, I think that Microsoft is actually working with Nintendo too. Reason being, there was about 6 titles just out of the games that I was looking through that were Xbox exclusives in the past that are coming over to Switch, which is very rare. And for that all to be happening at once, I'm taking a clue,
there's
and
a little
I'm saying
bit,
something's going on.
There's a little bit to that, and I'll talk a little more on that here in just a bit. So the next one on the board was a game that they announced called The Outer Worlds. Not a lot. It was just a little trailer of the game. To me, it's kind of a Fallout style kind of game. It's going to be multi-platform, so it's going to be on all platforms. That's set to release in October of 2019. So that one looks kind of neat, but that wasn't one of the big highlights. Another game that they announced that I thought was pretty interesting is a game called, the name of it's Bleeding Edge.
Never heard of it.
So this one's going to be like a 4v4 game.
Okay.
So the idea is you're going to be fighting, other players, that kind of thing. The biggest deal is it's 4v4, but it's going to be melee centered.
So, really?
Yeah. So it's a melee brawler game. Yep. It focuses on melee combat. The characters kind of look like cyborg characters.
So are we kind of talking about like? I wonder if it's going to be a big open space, or if it's going to be like Mortal Kombat, but we're all battling team versus team.
I think it's going to be kind of more of like an Overwatch style.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, yeah, so an open map.
The art style looks kind of Overwatchy, right?
Okay.
In the sense of that kind of graphic style. But it also has kind of the style of Borderlands in a way.
Okay.
Kind of a cartoony, fun look.
Feels like it's kind of like we're going to go into a 3D realm, open area Smash Brothers.
Yeah, that's kind of what the vibe I'm getting from it.
I'm liking the sound of that.
But with their own type of characters, their own style.
Right, and teams. That's different. That's a whole new spin.
Yep. And then another game that they announced, I don't know if you guys, we don't play a lot of 2D games here, but I know other people are into them, and I would totally be into getting into them, in the future, is just 2D platformers. One of the ones that Xbox talked about is a very popular game. Its name is... where do I do that? Here it is. It's Ori and the Will of the Wisps. This is a sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest. And this game is beautiful. And my buddy Darby had the Blind Forest, the original, on his PC that he had gotten on Steam. And the game is really pretty breathtaking for a 2D game. They take it's 2D, but the background is 3D. And so you have all this stuff kind of moving and happening, and whenever you're being attacked, it's still all 3D. But it's in this 2D space, and its art style is very artistic, very neat. I mean, and this new sequel looks to be just as good as the original.
Okay, is that the preview you threw on there?
Yeah. So that's kind of the trailer. Shows him fighting
inside.
shows him fighting some spiders. He uses his little grapple moves like he had in the previous game. Also introduces a new friend of his, or a pet, which is an owl that he uses to fight, and that game is set to release on February 11th of 2020. So, but
that is a very... I like that. I'm going to have to try that game. That looks cool.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. That'd be one that'd be fun just to sit down and just play with your buddies, take turns.
Right.
Kind of like we talked about, like, when you die, take turns, that kind of stuff. So, They also announced Battletoads. I don't know if you guys ever played Battletoads back in the day, but yeah, Xbox is bringing in the Battletoads.
Bro, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so it's a remake of the original Battletoads game.
Okay.
Let's see, it's going to be a traditional 2D beat 'em up game. It's going to sport a hand-drawn animation style for those of you who are fans of that. And it's also reported to be coming to the Xbox Game Pass. So if you're already paying for that subscription, you'll get a little taste. Little taste of the old Battletoads. And they look really cool. It's another one that some of these little small games I'm kind of like, man, that'd be fun to just sit down and play.
I've never played Battletoads, or at least I don't remember. Like, so in my head, I'm picturing like some toads that look like Ninja Turtles, and they're battling.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is. It's like a
really?
Ninja Turtle style game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And they were real popular back in the day. I think they were just a little older, or maybe we just missed it. But yeah, so really cool stuff there. They also went in and announced, of course, Borderlands 3. We got a little bit more information on that. Graphics still look really good on it. It actually has some familiar faces from Borderlands 2, I noticed. So I didn't realize that they were carrying people over from that story. I mean, it makes sense. But the game features Commander Lilith. Also, it's going to have Mosey the Gunner. It's got FL4K, the Beastmaster. It looks like this guy has pets that he actually sends out after his enemies. So that's really cool. And then you have Zane Flint, the operative. Like I said, they show off the graphics, some abilities that look really cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, looks really fun. It's set to release September 13th.
Just so you guys know out there, on Steam, on the computer, you can get individually Borderlands 2, and you can get individually Borderlands, the pre-sequel, for like $2 or $3 each, something like that, maybe $4.50 actually, I think. Or you can get the package that comes with both of those and all the download content that's ever been out for $6.50 right now, and it's free if you have PlayStation, completely free.
It's called the Handsome Collection.
Yeah,
the Handsome Collection. Yes,
really good.
So
what's Steam
if you never played it, $200.
Yeah,
like a little over 200. Yeah. With all the download content and everything included.
It all. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have never played it and want to play it because you're kind of getting amped up for Borderlands 3, go get it. It's the time to get it for sure. Play it with your friends. Get worked up. Get ready for 3. If you have played it and just want to get back on it, check it out because 3's coming. Do it. We have been streaming that a little bit. We just started checking it out. We're about to get Hunter in there when his computer comes in.
Oh yeah,
and gets built, and we're gonna be tearing through that thing.
Oh yeah, having a lot of fun. Yeah, it's going to be great. They also announced another game. Like I said, a lot of what Xbox did was kind of what the other ones did. It was a lot of trailers. So another one that they showed us was a game called Elden Ring. This game is going to be a collaboration between From Software and George R.R. Martin, which is the creator of Game of Thrones. He's going to be in on this game. It gives us a small glimpse into what the story could be. It's definitely going to be kind of a Lord of the Rings style, fantasy style game. Definitely has the RPG element. They didn't really give a release date, but the graphics look pretty good on it. So just kind of a small thing to keep on your radar.
I'm ready for a game to come out like that, like Lord of the Rings style. That is got that photorealistic that we've been seeing.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be around the corner.
And I'm going to talk
where you're actually playing the whole time.
And I'm going to talk a little bit more about it as we move on. Because a lot of these, I think, are going to be big releases for the next gen. I think that's this 2020 thing is starting to gear up. I think they're inching their way towards that next gen stuff. Another one that they announced, this trailer looked really awesome, is Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga.
Oh, I did see a preview for that.
Yeah, it looks really good. This is set to release sometime in 2020. This game is going to include all 9 films that have been put into the universe, and it's and it's being retold with the Legos style. Has some comedy and different things in it. Looks like it's going to.
I love the Legos movies.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a must-have for kids and parents alike. So get that, check that out. I'm probably going to buy it for Claire and just have a ton of fun playing, especially since it's got all 9 movies. Like,
yeah, that's cool.
That's freaking awesome. They also announced Dragon Ball Z, and I don't know how to say this name, guys, so excuse me. It's Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, something like that.
You nailed it. Got
Kakarot, yeah. All 3 styles. Yeah. This is basically a trailer of Dragon Ball Z, and it's supposed to release in the year 2020.
Okay.
So now we're going to talk about what Hunter was talking about earlier, Star Wars Fallen Order. They released a trailer on the game as well. They had their own version of it. Had some game, it looked like it had some gameplay in it. It at least lets me feel a little more comfortable about it. But I went ahead and popped it up on the screen for the people watching. This showed off the gameplay trailer. Featured our main character, Cal Kestis, and Rogue One's Saw Gerrera. The lightsaber fighting looks really incredibly fun. Kind of like me and Hunter were talking about. It shows them reflecting, lasers, throwing the lightsaber, all that kind of stuff. And the characters in this game, I don't know if you guys noticed, or Hunter, if you noticed, they're based off the real life actors. So the actor in the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is the same actor who's in the show Shameless on Showtime. He also plays the Joker on the Gotham series. So if you look at him, I mean, you can tell right off the bat that's him. Same thing with Saw Gerrera, the actor that played him in Rogue One is the same actor. So we're definitely.
I like it when they bring real actors into the games like that. Like, I think it's cool because it gives us a different kind of connection to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if it's easy.
The graphics look freaking super good.
Too.
Yeah, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Sweet. So
now, some of this is gameplay that I watched on that trailer.
Yeah, the cinematics look awesome, but even the graphics in the game look real. Like, it looks like some of them are gameplay, and those look good too.
Yeah, yeah, like that right there with the lightsabers and stuff. Boom.
That's
beautiful. Beautiful. I'm really pumped. I'd love to get back into the Star Wars series. I don't know, the Battlefront 2, all the stuff that went down with that kind of got me a little leery of jumping into Star Wars. So it's good that they're hopefully going to produce a good game that's not going to be distracting in the negative way.
It's funny because a lot of times when I talk about games that are made after movies, I don't usually think of Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, you've got games like Marvel games that have been big, but the Marvel games aren't usually really made after movies, right? Marvel, they're made after comics.
Yeah.
So you've got good games in the Marvel universe, and in DC you always have, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But most games that are made of a movie are horrible. But I kind of forget because Star Wars is so big. I forget it's a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's developed off of it. And there's been all kinds of great Star Wars games over the years.
Yeah, it's just its own animal, you know.
Right.
And with Disney backing it, it's even bigger. So, another trailer they sent out. They basically did a little trailer on the Xbox Live Elite wireless controller. It's the Series 2, and looks pretty sleek, pretty cool.
Like it's a different kind of controller?
Well, just, it has upgrades to it, like things that you wouldn't get with the normal ones.
Gotcha.
The upgrades include adjustable tension joysticks, shorter hair trigger locks, wraparound rubber grips, support for multiple gaming profiles, Bluetooth connectivity, and rechargeable batteries.
Really?
Yep. And you can get this, you can pre-order it for $180. So if you want that, guys, go for it.
That's the price of a console.
Used.
Yeah, a used console.
But still.
Yeah. Boy. Yeah, Ryan's talking about the consoles back in like 1980s, you know.
No. I know the newer ones have been like $5.99. But I'm talking about you can go buy an Xbox One right now for $180. I guarantee I can find one.
Yep.
Probably Facebook Market or something.
So here's one, guys, that I think's really cool. I think the kids will like it. Dads will like it. Definitely kind of up our alley.
I already love it.
It's Microsoft, of course, exclusive. Or, Microsoft exclusive, I'd say. Xbox exclusive. It's the Minecraft Dungeons game.
Oh, really? Is it all new Minecraft?
To an extent, it's different. It shows off Minecraft style, but it's a dungeon crawler. It looks like Diablo, or a game like that.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to be a dungeon crawler. So you go through these dungeons and collect loot and build yourself up and this kind of thing.
So it's going to have a little more of a story to it, but the building of Minecraft is still going to be involved.
Yeah, the whole game looks like the block style of Minecraft, but it's literally like a Diablo style game or something like that.
Interesting.
So you're going to progress through it with a story, and it's going to be a 4-player co-op. You can do it locally.
Oh, really?
You can do it locally or online, and so you'll group up and go through and fight through the dungeons.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, so they definitely hit the nail on the head on that. They're also announced that Gears of War 5, or Gears 5 is what they're calling it. They had a little trailer for that. Shows off the graphics of the game. Also shows a Terminator exoskeleton that will be showing up as a playable character. There's maybe some DLC, so Terminator's going to make an appearance within Gears of War 5.
I used to play Gears a lot. That's a fun co-op game for sure. It's unique. Got some unique styles to it and ways of combat.
That's set to release September 10th. So the next big one, and I'm surprised you guys didn't talk about it, is a game called Cyberpunk 2077. Did you guys hear about this or see anything on this? Okay.
I did not.
Next year.
Huh?
It comes out next year.
Yep. So this one, Ryan, we were talking about photorealism and all this kind of stuff. Well, this is another one where they're starting to push the graphics and things like that to resemble your real-life actors. This game is a futuristic action shooter that's touted some snippets of gameplay mixed with story as we are introduced to the main character. Near the end of the trailer, we're in for a surprise as Keanu Reeves appears in the game, telling the main character, Reeves, wake up, wake the F up, samurai. We have a city to burn. And so it's this futuristic, very cool, like kind of a steampunk style, or some of the characters look like they're made like of robot parts. Looks really awesome.
Did you throw that on there? Or no?
Yeah, I did.
It's supposed to take place in 2077.
Okay.
Yep. So here's as you can see on the stream, an example of what the graphics look like, and I'll skip over real quick just so you can see the part I'm talking about.
Yeah, the stream's always way behind, so I'm not seeing it on mine yet, but that's cool. Just keep on rolling.
Yeah.
That was a good power move using Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah. And he came out to E3 and announced, basically kind of did a celebrity appearance for the fans.
Yeah. That's cool.
It was really cool. So you'll see it there on the
Well, he's gotten, obviously more popular lately. Like, he was popular back, and then he kind of died off, and now he's spiked all the way back up.
Yeah.
So it is pretty cool.
So that game looks like it's going to be one of their big ones. Looks like a fun one. Didn't really show any gameplay, so again, it's early, a little early to tell, but things are looking good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is probably one of the best deals where I feel like Xbox knocked it out of the park right here.
The graphics on the preview look amazing for sure.
Yeah. So they announced the Xbox Game Pass, which I know they've always had it, these Game Passes and Xbox Live Gold and that kind of thing. But this Game Pass is going to be for the PC. That they're releasing a version for the PC. It's going to offer 100 games to start out with.
Really?
By August, and it's going to cost you $10 a month. So us PC players can pay a $10 subscription to the Xbox Game Pass, and we can play all these Xbox.
So you get, hold on a minute, you get the games, not just the ability to play them. Not like Stadia, you're paying for the ability to play them. You're saying you actually get the games to play for $10 a month. That's
how I'm reading it. Yes.
If that's the case, that kind of hurts old Stadia over there a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah, well, that's their intention, I'm sure.
Yeah, I like that.
They also announced that the Game Pass Ultimate, which includes the Xbox Pass for consoles, Xbox Live Gold, Xbox Game Pass for PC. So that includes everything. So if you had an Xbox, you could pay the extra and have all that.
Right. How much is the Ultimate?
Those games on everything. $15.
Oh, okay.
It's not much more. To sweeten the deal, Batman Arkham Knight, Metro Exodus, Hollow Knight, and Borderlands The Handsome Collection are now part of the Game Pass as of today, and first-time subscribers can jump in for just $1. So that first month you get it all for $1.
Nice.
So, daddy likey. And so then for their big, they had kind of a 1-2 combo that they hit at the end of their conference. They talked about Xbox Project Scarlet. Now, Project Scarlet. I'm sure you know where this is going, guys. This was basically a reveal trailer for the next gen Xbox console. They didn't go into great detail. They just touted a lot of different things, but nothing, not a lot of spec stuff as far as details or any examples, right?
Nice.
But what do you expect? It's,
Yeah, that's what we're going to get out of them.
Yeah, that's just what we're getting right now. So the next gen console is announced. It's going to be launching the holiday of 2020. So not this Christmas, but the next Christmas.
So more than a year away still. What did they... A lot of people thought it was going to come this year. So that's kind of surprising. But what did they do? What you say they didn't announce the specs. Did they announce some specs?
They announced some. They just didn't put a list out.
Okay.
They're touting that the processor is 4 times faster than the Xbox One S.
Okay.
This is going to run at 120 frame rates per second. It can reach up to 8K resolution, and it's going to have its own SSD hard drive that will double as virtual memory. So that means the machine itself can tap that hard drive for extra memory.
It's just a high-end gaming computer that they want to keep it as a console.
Yeah. Also talked about having variable refresh rates, and also this new ray tracing that has hardware acceleration. And so they're talking about you're going to be seeing things in real time, no delay on your screen.
Nice.
So that's pretty interesting. They also mentioned in the trailer that all the games and game data are going to be coming with it. So you should be able to play with all your Xbox One friends. There's not going to be any drop off. It's not like they're obsoleting the Xbox One. So if so like if I had an Xbox
they didn't
One,
do that with 360
I know.
One.
So if I have an Xbox One, you bought the new Xbox, we can still play that old game that we have.
Okay.
Together.
You can't play the new games that are too hard for your one to handle.
Right, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah. But
so
any existing games.
Thinking about that, the fact that everything's talking about 8K. Google Stadia is talking about 8K. Now you got Microsoft, talking about 8K. And I know there's been a couple like 8K movie, like TVs, kind of trickle, if that makes sense, like you're hearing about them. To me, it feels like 4K just kind of is getting established. Like there's a lot of people that don't have 4K yet. And so, like when we went from 1080 to 4K, everybody had 1080 for the last 6 years. You know what I mean? And so to go from that to 4K, and we're just now kind of getting established in 4K, and it looks mind-blowing already. Now we're going to go ahead and shift to 8K. For me, I'm having trouble with that. I'm like, I don't think we've even felt out 4K yet.
Let my monitor I think it goes back to let my TV catch up. I get what you're saying.
Right.
It's like it's 8K so expensive right now, right? Like if you're going to get 8K anything.
Well, even 4K is expensive. If you're going to buy like a bigger TV, something over 60 inches, you're still talking about thousands of dollars.
In the last 2 years, Netflix comes out with 4K streaming finally?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's still pretty recent.
Even services and stuff aren't really up to the point of offering that kind of thing.
Yep.
So, but guys, that's not it. They announced all this, and kind of get you pumped up, and you're excited, like, oh yeah, new Xbox, and you realize you'll be able to play all your games that you had on it. So that's really cool, right?
And you can play this PC stuff you talked about, the Xbox Pass.
Right.
That's a big one.
Yep. Also, before we move on, there was talks, I believe it was the president of Xbox, it was someone higher up within Xbox, and this was just something I had heard in passing, nothing that I read on an article, but another YouTuber that I was listening to. Basically, one of the Xbox executives had said that they are interested in doing business with everybody. They feel like we should be able to play games on whatever console or computer we want, and we should all be able to play together, and there should not be restrictions amongst us. And so Microsoft, basically he was saying we are down to play ball with whoever wants to play ball.
They're saying, hey, we're going to be the first one to say, look, let's cross-platform.
Yep.
It's okay. We can still survive.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
So that's why.
Could you imagine?
I think that's why you're talking about Microsoft working with Nintendo, but then we're confused because we hear they're working with PlayStation, and all these and PC. Obviously.
Right.
I think that's the road they're wanting to be the first ones, and really they didn't do the best this last iteration of consoles, right? So it makes sense if you're going to do something, make a splash, right? So if they're the ones that do the rallying cry. I mean, they're saying we're for the gamers. That's kind of their deal right now. Is we're for the gamers, and
so. In thinking about the fact that they are wanting to go cross-platform, I guess some of the negatives in that would be the fact that you're scared if you go cross-platform, then, I mean, what, you think you're going to lose people because people wanted to play on that anyways? I mean, there's still going to be exclusives to the console, right? Yeah. That's what people don't get. There's still going to be exclusives to the console. It doesn't mean that every game that's made will be on every console. So there'll still be reasons for you to buy a PlayStation. There'll still be reasons for you to buy Xbox.
Well,
the fact is that the ones that are cross-platform, that they make for all of them, we could play together. Yeah. Why not? If you're an Xbox guy, you're not just going to suddenly become a PlayStation guy just because of the change. I don't think so.
From the company perspective, like for PlayStation, for instance, you lose control. Like PlayStation has their own standards and policies of how you're going to act on their servers.
Right.
Well, if some punk over there on Xbox server is just doing this or that in the stream or whatever, or causing a ruckus within the PlayStation community, PlayStation has no control over that. So that was kind of their big thing of we don't have control. We can't control that atmosphere, right? So now this parent or whoever wants to sue us for something or get on to us for something, there's nothing we can do about it. That's point one.
So do you think that those policies are really very different?
Probably not. But I mean, this is the thing, right? One of the excuses that have been made. Point two would be, from my perspective, I don't know if this is verified with them, but I would think they want people to buy their game console. And so if Joey and Bobby over here have PlayStation, and Chris over here got the Xbox, and he's really enjoying the games on Xbox, but all his buddies are playing on the PlayStation. They can't play together.
That's true.
So now Chris goes and sells his Xbox so he can go and buy a PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? And
I've had that battle over the years.
Yeah, there's that, I think. I think that's another. Now you're losing control, right? Because now if we can all play together, I can have my Xbox, you can have your PlayStation, and PlayStation now loses their money I don't think it's gonna. I don't think the numbers will be that big.
But if you think about it, don't you think that happens on both sides? So imagine I've been losing people to PlayStation.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty fair trade. You'd probably say.
Right. So if we come back to neither one of us lose customers and neither one of us gain your customers, then it's probably close to a wash.
Yeah. I would be interested to see the actual statistics on that because I'm sure, like with Xbox 360, it kicked. No offense, Hunter, because I know you're the PlayStation guy. Xbox 360 tore up PlayStation 3.
Right.
But then PlayStation 4, from what I've heard, has done much better than Xbox One.
Xbox One.
On this iteration.
I've gone back and forth. I had the 360.
Yeah.
Over the 3.
Yeah.
That's what we did too.
Yeah, and that's why I say I don't feel like I'm a big, dedicated console, whatever. Well, now I'm turning into more PC, but so I think that's some of the stuff, but I think Microsoft has something there, what they're going with, and so what you're seeing is they're getting all their games out to these other publishers, these other companies, and I think it's going to help them out a lot this next console war that we're headed into.
I think it's a great idea.
But with the new gen console, they also said there needs to be a sequel. So I'm going to put this up on the stream for you guys to check out, Hunter and Ryan, so you guys can kind of follow along.
What's that even mean, there needs to be a sequel?
There needs to be a sequel with the console. So they announced a trailer that reveals a pilot that's on a ship that is in trouble. He ends up coming across Master Chief's body. That's right, Master Chief. Okay. Yep. And then reveals him pulls the body into the ship. He's being attacked on the ship. There's issues going on, and he decides he's going to revive the old Master Chief. He takes basically this electric wire, and you'll see in the trailer. He puts it together. Boom! Master Chief is alive. He says, "We need to fight," and basically reveals Master Chief opening up the cargo ship's door, and going to fight. And in the trailer, we do find out the guy basically tells Master Chief that they've lost the war. And it shows the Halo world broken and shattered. And I'll just kind of get to the point here on the trailer so you guys don't have to watch a lot of it. But here's the part where you see old Master Chief there and all his high-end graphics. But yeah, so this is Halo Infinite. And it will be launching alongside the new Xbox, or whatever it's going to be called, Project Scarlet. So this will be releasing with that. It's going to be their big exclusive.
What do you think it'll be? Xbox 2?
I would think so. I mean, that's what we had wrote about on our, I think, a couple episodes back. But yeah, so this was their big cue. They talked about their next gen console and the Halo. The Halo game
looks good. Graphics look good. Stuff's shifting again.
Looks beautiful. Yep.
Sure does.
Yep. So man, a lot of news we went through. The gaming companies, they're pushing a lot of stuff. Everything's kind of going to next gen. So I feel like for a lot of these companies, we just kind of got a lot of trailers because everything's going to next gen now within the console, so I didn't feel like we got as much gameplay. But Nintendo delivered on that, so I appreciate that. And so I kind of tend to agree with you, Ryan. I think overall Nintendo probably wins for having the most playable things to show. Look at our gameplay.
Yeah. I think they had the most to offer right now.
So I feel like they raised up the proverbial switch. They were letting people know, hey, we're not slowing down on this. And, and you got PlayStation who opted out, of course, and then Xbox and these other game developing companies that, aren't necessarily pushing newer titles. Everything was just, hey, it's coming out in 2020. So overall, I think it was a pretty good E3. I've heard some people have been disappointed in it, because it was more trailers. But what do you guys think after doing your research?
I think that it was more trailers. I agree with that. Other than Nintendo, who really delivered a lot of actual gameplay, still a lot of Nintendo's were 2020 releases. These are games that are being worked on. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that's always the case, right? But because everybody's kind of pent up thinking we might get new consoles this Christmas, I think people were expecting more big things coming now, you know what I mean, or here very soon. And so I think I could see the little bit of lackluster there.
And I remember us mentioning that too, like, man, that seems kind of early. Like, well, that seems pretty, So I'm glad to see we were thinking right.
But I could definitely say in the gaming world, with Google Stadia, with Xbox doing what they're doing, with the fact that we're getting all this kind of cross-platform vibe and the ability to game wherever we want to, I'm happy that there's a big shift. I felt like it was time, and I think it's happening. And so overall, we just got some more confirmation on that, and some big names, and some unique games, actually. I think we heard about 3 or 4 unique games, not just new games, but unique games.
New created games.
Yeah, just new styles of play, even like things that kind of, that's interesting. And so that I think overall it was still a good E3. But when is E3 not a good E3? Honestly,
if
you're a gamer.
Hunter, what'd you think, buddy? What was your impressions?
I think most of the ones that I was looking forward to did have some gameplay with them, so I was pretty pleased.
You're satisfied on your end. What game are you, or what thing are you the most excited about after we've gotten all this news on E3 for you personally?
Definitely the Jedi game, and then Madden for sure.
Yeah. So what you got to report on? I kind of threw you those, both of those. Definitely EA, because I knew there'd be some sports. Like if they announced sports, it would be in it. So I figured you would find some enjoyment out of that, looking up some of that stuff. So.
And some of the Bethesda stuff I'm still pumped about. It's just, I don't know as
they
much
just didn't have a
about
ton.
them.
Like I was expecting some Elder Scrolls news, you know.
It seemed like to me it was a lot of add-ons for them.
Yeah,
it wasn't anything super new. It was add-ons and.
It's like, hey guys, stuff. we're trying to fix Fallout 76, you know.
Well, I can tell you what's happening right now. It's exactly what we just talked about. A lot of the game developers are developing for next gen.
Yeah.
And so because they're developing for next gen, they don't want to announce a game a year and a half before the next console comes out. So they're kind of stuck in this. We don't want to stop putting stuff out for the current gen, but we can't just spend a bunch of money on the current gen knowing the next gen's coming.
Right, so that's where we don't want to tell people, oh, sorry, guys.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, well, guys.
Well, that was a long show, guys.
Boy,
you think we might split this into 2 podcasts but still release them on the same day, or what do you think we do with that?
It was something.
I might part 1 it, part 2 it, you know.
So yeah, I think we'll be probably 2.5 hours if we do one.
Yeah, have the choice to pick.
Because we almost went, we're 30 minutes short of 4 hours.
Yeah, well, you got to calculate. We had a lot of internet issues, so I can probably chop it down to 3.
That probably makes up 40 minutes of our
time. We started at 7:30. It's 10:30 now, so it's 10:50 now. So yeah.
It was a long one. So I tell you, yeah, we'll probably have to part. We'll see what I can get, what kind of magic I can work, but I'm probably gonna break it out into pieces. Maybe
that's fine. We'll release them at the same day, though, right?
Well, maybe, or I might just do a Friday release and then do a Monday release.
No, we can't make people wait on their E3 news.
Yeah, I don't want to do that to them, because then it'll be old. But I might break it up into a half and half.
Yeah, that'll work. And then you don't have to do all the editing all at once either.
Yeah,
that'll help you.
Yep. So it was a really good episode considering all the
technical difficulties. Yep, but we picked back up and the rest run smooth. So whatever you did over there must have fixed it. Even though you said it was Skype, I don't know if I believe you.
Well, for one, it was Skype. It was Skype, and it was the fact that I guess I'll explain it after the show.
Yeah,
we're
you're
not going to go into that. But yeah, so overall it was good, guys. We look forward to having more on the contest. So don't forget about that. Keep it in the back of your mind. We will be sending out Facebook posts to let everyone on our social media know. I will be sending out emails to our email subscriber list because we got quite a few email subscribers. So that's really, great. So yeah, go out there, like, share, spread the word about us. We love putting this on. Tonight was a rough one. It'll get better. We'll have good ones. We'll have bad ones. That's how it works when it comes to live streaming.
No matter what happens, you got to stay delirious.
And stay dadding.
And stay gaming. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it is. That's not what I wanted. This has been a Delirious Dads production. For more information about the show, visit